in this box is typical of what you had to make do with if you were modelling model trains in Ireland or Irish prototypes when I was a kid. A British Rail Mark I coach repainted into Irish Rail colours. It's not 1,000 miles from what ran in Ireland, and there were Mark I heating coaches here, but this was typical of what model railways in Ireland, if you wanted to model Irish trains here, was like when I was a kid. Although these days models, prototypical models, good quality models of Irish trains are available in the below scale, my modelling comes from a time when there wasn't much available for modellers of Irish rail in Ireland. Companies like Lima, Hornby, Jouef painted Irish models, and Triang too, painted British models in Irish colours to create representations of them, and also painted not just locomotives but rolling stock in Irish colours too to break into the Irish market. I don't think there was a mass-produced model, in fact I know there wasn't a mass-produced model of an Irish rail, an Irish locomotive prototype until the Class 201 was released by Lima in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Now this locomotive here is a white resin silver fox kit from the 1990s, I believe, that was built and painted and weathered for me by a friend in England, and he motorised it with, I think, a Class 24 or 25 Hornby power chassis. Now this is basically almost the sum total of my entire Irish collection. I would like to own more Irish models, but the market here is quite expensive, and there's a big collector's market who tend to scoop things up. Now the stuff they make now is incredible, it's amazing, but this is like a throwback to what you had to do in the old days if you wanted to model Irish trains. And I've recreated a mixed goods train based on one that ran on a couple of branch lines in Ireland, the most famous one, the last one, being the Loughrea branch off the Dublin to Galway line. Now the coach behind it, the passenger coach, is a kitbash of two Hornby four-wheel coaches to create an Irish version of a six-wheel coach. I've taken the centre wheel out in the middle because I had difficulty going around tight curves. I painted it in the appropriate green and yellow with the CIE Flying Snail logo, which is also seen on the C-Class, number C205. Behind that, some Lima and Hornby vans that have been repainted and given the proper decals, although Lima did make but they did produce four-wheel vans for the Irish market with both the what they call the Flying Snail logo, which you can see here, and the CIE Chorus Umper Urn, which means the Irish Transport Company broken wheel roundel. The brake van on the end is a kit-bashed Triang, very old British rail model that wasn't even based on a real prototype. Apparently, there's a funny story behind this. The actual model was based on a prototype that appeared on the TV series Coronation Street of a crashed train that happened in a viaduct, and somehow Triang used that model to recreate a brake van, a generic British brake van. I've kind of tried to make it look like a Great Northern brake van that's been absorbed into the Irish CIE system. So, like, this was it. This is what you had in the old days before. If you wanted a sort of semi-decent model train. Now that's it's not even a perfect representation of a C-class. I think the front, it's a bit odd looking, I think, but having said that, it's not a bad kit. This model runs great. So here on Arcadia Junction, a railway set in Ireland, a model layout set in Ireland, with a lack of Irish trains. I would like to address that, but like I said, they're very expensive. And here is my ancient compromise that was very common with modelers here in Ireland. You had to kind of make do before everything was available like it is now. And, you know, I learned a lot about painting, I learned a lot about scratch building and things like that. And it was make do. You know, it was make do, and I'm quite happy with the results. Even today, I'm pretty happy with these. So, let's take this guy out for a spin around the layout. He's on a point, so he might not start too well. No, he's actually pretty good. Ah, I knew it. Okay, 2 dead frog points. So, an Irish mixed goods train. One thing I will say for British and Irish four-wheel short-base wagons is they do look good going around tight curves. You don't have that enormous overhang. Arcadia Junction is very much unashamedly a train set, just to bring back or to capture or restore the happiness the hobby gave me growing up. So I'm not a serious builder in that regard. I have to say I'm very pleased with how this model runs, and considering these are mostly scratch built or cheap models, they run pretty good too, even at slow speed.